In Indianapolis this morning, I want to get you out to this breaking scene on the south side. A SWAT standoff near a high school, and we now know 2 juveniles are in custody now, connected to an overnight shooting.
Yes, Kyle Linsky live on the scene with the details from this news conference that just wrapped up moments ago and really putting all the pieces together for us. Kyle?
That's exactly right, Ray and Angela. As you guys just mentioned, 2 juvenile suspects now in custody in connection to an overnight homicide. I want to bring in Sergeant Kendall Adams with IMPD. Talk to us about what we know and how this SWAT situation ended peacefully here this morning.
Yeah, certainly it's a very tragic scene, both a homicide and 2 juveniles that are taken into custody, potentially related to that homicide. Our investigation continued through the night. The homicide was on Union Street. Our investigators continued their investigation through the night and were able to develop information that led them over here to where they believe 2 suspects were housed. Those 2 suspects were later learned to be juveniles. They were successfully taken into custody without any injuries to police officers or any injuries to the suspects themselves. Our detectives will now take their investigative information, compile that, and present that to the Marion County Prosecutor's Office, where they will make a charging decision.
And we know that 4 other people were inside the house, 4 adults, 2 children. Talk to me about how they are doing, and obviously this is a traumatic experience for those individuals.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is a traumatic experience for our entire community. Anytime you have 2 juvenile suspects that are taken into custody for what we believe is a homicide, it certainly is a travesty to this community. The 4 individuals that were inside the house, we believe one of the suspects lived here. They are potentially related to the suspect. They came out, they were unharmed and were cooperating with police at the time of this successful surrender of these suspects. This is just a testament to our hostage negotiation team and our SWAT team, who has a great depth of experience in these type of ordeals, where they were successfully able to get both these suspects out without injury to them nor police.
And I know earlier we heard a loud explosion. Talk about, was that a diversion tactic that you guys were using?
Yeah, part of what our SWAT operators are able to do is sometimes create diversion, and that loud bang was just that, a diversion tactic used to divert the suspect's attention to eventually get them come out.
No shots fired here. Was it a negotiator eventually that was able to talk these suspects out?
Yeah, as a part of the normal operating procedure for both SWAT and crisis negotiation, they respond at the same time. Crisis negotiation team sets up immediately and starts to try to make contact. They even threw in a cell phone to the potential suspects, but unfortunately suspects never picked that phone up to make contact with our crisis negotiation team. Our SWAT team then opted to go in with some diversionary tactics and able to get the suspects out.
I know these suspects are juveniles, so you have limited information that you can provide the public with right now, but what can you tell us about them?
Well, right now we need to, as you can see, the suspects were just brought out, so at this time we need to confirm their identity, and we're not going to release any information prematurely.
Right, we're being very careful what we show out here on the scene. We do not want to show their faces.
Absolutely.
Due to their ages. We know Roncalli High School is nearby. We passed another elementary school just up the road from here. Talk about how you guys had to factor that into what you were doing here in terms of, were you talking with those school officials about maybe delaying the start of classes? I know buses were not allowed on Redwood Drive this morning.
Absolutely. We, our crisis negotiating SWAT team commanders were well aware of that fact and began communications with Roncalli early on. There was no immediate threat to the school or really the surrounding area. Our SWAT team and our responding officers were able to contain the area very tightly and very securely. So there really was no immediate threat to them, but obviously had there been an immediate threat, we would have used our social media channels and our ongoing communication with Roncalli to make sure that those students and that faculty were safe.
All right, thank you so much, Sergeant Adams, for coming up and updating us about this SWAT situation that did end peacefully here this morning. Ray and Angela, right now, as you guys understand, the 2 juvenile suspects are in custody in connection to that overnight homicide that happened in the same neighborhood. Back to you guys in the studio.
Kyle, quickly, you were on that homicide earlier this morning. I know a lot of people wanting to know more about the victim. Earlier, it was reported that it was a man. Have we learned anything else about him, his age, anything from family members yet?
That has not been released just yet, Angela. I know they were waiting to notify that victim's friends and family before they actually release that information. We'll try to get in touch again with Sergeant Adams to see if they have. Kendall, do you know if you've released any other information about the homicide victim from overnight?
Not the victim.
Okay.
There was immediate release sent out last night. That's all we have.
Okay, Angela, they have not had any further updates about that overnight homicide. Again, that information just coming in from Sergeant Adams.
All right. Kyle, let's keep reporting.